Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning.
Shay 45.
Wake your punk ass up.
Wow, Sway in the morning, Shay 45, 32 minutes past the top of the hour. We had a morning so far. Slim Thug came by, represented Houston.
Yep.
John Corbett came by and represented everything. Wine country, sex in the city, sex and drugs and rock and roll.
And Coast Soap.
And Coast Soap.
And male beauty.
And male beauty. I didn't even know they made Coast Soap, citizens. Now, some people will argue that this is not real. Some people absolutely live by it. You guys be the judge. We're all here live in the room. Nobody knows anything. This is all our first time meeting, correct?
Correct.
The one and only Hollywood medium. This is not the title I'm giving. This is what's here. Tyler Henry is here, citizens. Welcome him to the show. Show him some love. Season 2 of Hollywood Medium with Tyler Henry premieres on Wednesday, August 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern on E. How you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
You coming here smiling this morning. You feeling good, excited. I heard you had cereal this morning for breakfast.
I sure did. I got my Lucky Charms in. I'm ready to go.
Lucky Charms, you ready to go? Well, what we like to do anytime that we have mediums here is just talk about first, how did you know that you were a medium? When did you find out? And then, of course, if you feel something in the room with anybody, just bring that up because none of us ever met. And then go to our citizens of Sway in the Morning because they may have some questions. So 888-742-3345. But let's start first. How did you know or find out you were a medium?
Well, it was really a process. And I grew up as a 10-year-old little kid in a very small Christian conservative town. And my grandmother was ill with cancer. And one night I basically woke up and knew that my grandmother was going to pass. It just came through as a sense of like a knowingness that was like a memory that hadn't happened yet. And so I went into the room to go and tell my mom that I felt we had to say goodbye. And before we actually got the chance to leave, my mom's phone rang. And when she picked it up, she got the call that my grandmother had just passed away. So from there, it really evolved. And I found that, from that experience, that was a catalyst that really kind of kicked off my intuition. I would go throughout my day-to-day life at school with teachers and would just share what was coming through, these feelings that I would get that I just knew.
Were you ever nervous about it? Like, say you, especially in school, because now you're going through elementary school. You said you're 10 years old. You're going through elementary school, going through high school, and you may get a message, and then you have to say something. Were you ever nervous about it? Did anybody ever shun you away?
For sure. It's a totally foreign territory as a child. And still, even as a medium, it can be a little tough sometimes presenting information. But I found that, for those who were receptive to it, they couldn't ignore or deny the information that was coming through. And they found it really profound. So teachers and, people at the school administration would come and actually come for advice about their lives as I got into high school a little bit more. And so, it was a process. But
where did you grow up?
I grew up in Hanford, California, which is kind of central California near Fresno.
Okay. Did you charge them money or you just gave it to her for free?
Good question. I did it for free as I was in school, and then I started working professionally as a medium at the age of 16. And at the time, I was actually going to school to become a hospice nurse. Okay. So I graduated high school early and then ended up doing readings. And to refine them, I started doing them professionally. And then in order to do that, I basically went through hospice nursing at my local college and ended up figuring out that mediums and the demand for medium readings were really where all my focus was at, and people were contacting me. So I ultimately had to make a choice of either stay and continue trying to become a hospice nurse or ultimately accommodate the amount of readings that I was getting, and it was a tough decision.
Why did you want to go into nursing?
Well, nursing for me was really important, specifically hospice nursing, because I knew from the ages of 10 that I had this ability, and I thought that I wasn't really sure if I wanted to pursue the medium route in a public eye. So I knew that if I was a hospice nurse, I would be able to touch the lives of people in their last moments and be able to give them the knowledge and the closure and the comfort that they didn't have to be afraid to pass.
Was there any connection there with your grandmother? Maybe.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is there like a medium school?
I wish. There may be schools out there. I've never attended them, but everyone works so differently in this field that it's actually oftentimes difficult to find kind of common denominators, because one might be clairvoyant, another might be completely, clairaudient. It totally depends.
So then, is there any competition within your community?
I don't consider it competition. Yes, there are other mediums who work and are very successful. I'm quite close with John Edward. And so, there's other mediums out there, but I don't consider it any degree of competitiveness. I think if anything, we're all in it to help people. It's about ultimately showing people that love continues on and that consciousness doesn't end when a person's physical body does. And that's where the priority is.
So no, Tracy, no medium dissing going on. All
right, no medium
Yeah,
beef.
like you can't, no medium beef
You're going to bring in
happening.
Long Island medium. We're in a duel.
Yeah, that wasn't a read. This is a read. They probably go back and forth like that. 888-742-3345. Tyler Henry is here, citizens. If you want to talk to him, if you have any questions, he's here live with us right now. Sway in the morning, Shade 45.
I've been waiting to tell you this.
Tyler Henry is here, the Hollywood Medium. Season 2 of his show comes on Wednesday, August 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern. The phone lines have absolutely lit up. Everybody's calling from, I would say, Charlotte, North Carolina to Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. Let's take some of your calls. Dilton, you're calling in from Charlotte. Dylan, you're calling in from Charlotte. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing really well. You have a question for Tyler?
Yeah. I'm not sure if he specifically does medium in like the spirit world, but I was wondering. I've had a couple of close people to me die recently. Sadly, I was wondering because there's been some unexplainable things happen around my house lately, such as just lights and things coming through my phone, and it just doesn't make any sense. So I was wondering if maybe you could help me figure out if there is somebody trying to contact me from the afterlife.
Right. Well, really for me, reading is a process. I almost describe it like therapy. And so for me on the show, you'll find that, I'll scribble and I'll generally hold onto an object of a loved one to make a more direct connection. But I believe that when our loved ones pass away, they definitely do give us signs and indications that they're around. And I believe that the number one way that they can do that is oftentimes through something called synchronicity or coincidences. And that's really one of the main ways that I believe they connect. And so oftentimes, if we're able to notice these signs with our intuition, we're able to kind of figure out who it's coming from and really kind of feel that validation in them coming through. So oftentimes I'll also find as well, if someone passed away super recently or if multiple people did, they may not come through as strongly as someone who, say, has been passed away for a longer duration of time. So it really varies, but I definitely think that dreams are always good to keep in mind as one of the primary ways that they connect to us, and really just, again, looking for those little signs and indications, synchronicities or consistent coincidences that are a means to communicate a message, and that's really how they connect.
Thank you, Dylan, for your call. You're a citizen. A Sway in the morning. Tracy, go ahead.
Tyler, so then what are your thoughts on ghosts and the afterlife?
Sure. Well, ghosts kind of have gotten a bit of a bad rap. In Hollywood, people think of it as like Casper and, this disembodied thing that's going around the house making boo noises. Really, honestly, if what we view as a ghost is an earthbound spirit, in my entire career, it's been so far and few and far between to ever actually interact with anything that was still in this realm. It's not really natural for our souls to stick around. Naturally, just like the birth process happens and we have to go from one state to another, the same applies in this realm. When we pass away, it's almost like a sense of rebirth. So it's really not natural for us to kind of stick around, and it's very uncommon. So ghosts are actually pretty rare, which might be a bit surprising for people.
Nicole, good morning. You calling in from Texas. How you doing? Say what's up to Tyler.
I'm great.
Hi, Nicole.
I'm great. How are you guys doing today?
Really good. What's your question?
I'm really excited to be speaking with Tyler. I think what he does is absolutely awesome. I myself have dreams and things as well, and have been kind of told through the dream state of loved ones passing away. I've lost a lot of loved ones over the last few years, specifically my mom. And I just want to know if he has any tips for me to connect, because I do believe she's trying to reach out to me.
Sure, absolutely. I always tell people the first step of connecting to our loved ones is really quieting our mind. In this society, we are always used to plugging in our phones. They're ringing, buzzing, beeping. We have alarm clocks, televisions. We really are very stimulated. And in a big way, it's really important for us to connect on a level where we're going to be able to quiet our mind. And that's when intuition and those connections with our loved ones can come through. And so for me, that's why it's so important, to meditate, to be able to take moments to kind of decompress and be in the moment. And if you are able to really, through meditation, get in a mindset where you're not being distracted by this or that or your schedule or what you have to do later on in the day, then you would be surprised by the amount of connections and subtle communications that do come through and will actually connect and really be very meaningful. So it's really not a matter of adding anything as much as it's a matter of letting go of what's distracting and just kind of being able to center oneself, and meditation is oftentimes the best way to do that. So but that's also why dreams are oftentimes oftentimes a great form of connectivity because we're not distracted by our conscious mind, our logical mind. And dreams allow for information to come through in a more subconscious way, and that's ideal for them.
All right, thank you, Nicole. You're a citizen of Sway in the Morning. Chewy, you calling in from Pittsburgh. How you doing, Chewy?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning.
Y'all.
What's going on?
I guess it's kind of a twofold question. I had a family member. She had gone to a place, I don't know, Tyler, if you're familiar with it, called Lilydale. I think it's up towards New York somewhere.
Yes, I'm aware.
And she went to get a reading, one on my mother who had passed away, and they told her that she's just not on board yet. My mother, before she passed, she was very spiritual, but yet, like, I remember as a kid, she'd be like, boy, don't you mess with that Ouija board. And to this day, like, there's a movie coming up. My girl wanted to see it, and I said, out of respect for my mom, I can't see it with you.
Yeah.
But the other thing, my question was she got a reading done on my son. He was exceptionally tight with my mother. And the person that she spoke with said that my son was considered one of the crystal children. Could you tell me something about that?
Interesting. Yeah, well, people definitely believe in indigo children, crystal children. I don't really attribute certain labels to those things, but I definitely think that some children, in fact, all children, are actually naturally, inherently intuitive. I oftentimes, when I describe things, kind of avoid using New Age terms, just because I never want to imply a belief in something that I don't necessarily resonate with a ton. But for me, I believe that all children have an intuition. They are kind of closer to the other side, because I believe that where we go ultimately is actually where we come from. And then when we die, we actually will go to a very familiar place, somewhere that we were once here before. And so for me, I often find that children, don't have the rationality, they don't have the beliefs, the religious beliefs. They aren't told, eventually they're told it's all in your head, it's just your imagination, no, it's just an imaginary friend. But before that, kids just go with what's coming through, and they are in the moment. And as I touched on earlier about how important it is to be in the moment and to be able to kind of clear one's mind, children are essentially always meditating. They're always in the present moment. They're not generally thinking about the future. They're not focusing on the past. Kids are just living in a mentality of the present, and that is oftentimes why they're so receptive. So it's very possible.
All right. Did that help you out, Chewy?
Yep.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot,
for your call. You're a citizen of Sway in the Morning. All right, citizens. So make sure you check it out on Wednesday, August 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern on E! Tyler Henry, Hollywood Medium. All right. So you got a special guest this season. Anybody you want to talk about in particular?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's so many, ranging from Moby to Kris Jenner. So you kind of get a whole gamut. I love it. And Metta World Peace was actually one of my favorites. He was a Laker.
Yeah, we know Ron Artest. We know him from Ron Artest.
Right. Well, he was great. He was one of my favorites. So
wow, really?
Yeah,
and I saw Moby at the Soho House.
Oh my!
And I didn't bother him. Like, he was just sitting there. I was just like, oh shit. But I didn't say he was medium. He
was great. It was actually his first psychic reading he'd ever gotten. Ever. So it was like the real groundbreaking moment for him.
Wow. All right. Well, make sure you guys check it out. All right, Celebrity Y up next.
Yeah, we got to talk about how Justin Bieber is injecting himself in this Kanye and Taylor Swift beef.
Oh, God. Sway in the Morning, Shade 45.
It's Sway in the Morning, only on Shade 45.